Hello, Chicago!
President Obama spoke just a few miles from both his Chicago home and from where 15-year-old Hadiya Pendleton was murdered.
What happened to Hadiya is not unique. It's not unique to Chicago. It's not unique to this country. Too many of our children are being taken away from us.
Not unique, but it was a catalyst for this president. Hadiya was in Washington, D.C., part of a dance troupe performing at inaugural events.
Last year, there were 443 murders with a firearm on the streets of this city. And 65 of those victims were 18 and under. So that's the equivalent of a new town every 4 months.
Hadiya's death only 1 week after the inauguration was enough to bring Mr. Obama back to his hometown to address the issue of gun violence, something many here have been asking for years. The president said stopping violence in Chicago and other urban areas could be helped by economic opportunity, education, and the family. Fathers, he said, had to be more involved in their children's lives. He even brought up his own father, who left the family when the future president was an infant.
We got single moms out here. They're heroic what they're doing, and we are so proud of them. But at the same time, I wish I'd had a father who was around and involved.
In the crowd watching the speech was Yvette Holt. This surveillance tape shows the day her 16-year-old son Blair was murdered. A gunman walked onto this bus and started shooting.
I think violence is going to change. It has to change. We can't continue at this pace. And I think what he said was just so important, because now people understand it's not just up to the president. It's not just up to the mayor. It's a multifaceted approach that needs to take place here in the city of Chicago. And really, it starts at home with the parents.
We also spoke with these two women who now find themselves on the other side, aunts of Michael Ward, one of the two men charged with Hadiya Pendleton's murder. They describe their nephew as nice and funny and say while they don't know if he's responsible for the shooting, they know the violence has to stop. And like the president, they say their own community has to step up.
Stand outside and say, let's get together and let's walk the streets, let's walk the block, not walk, we're going to have this candle burning. That's not it. Let's have a conversation with these kids.
Before his speech, the president had a conversation with several kids growing up around the violence, speaking privately for almost an hour.
I got good advice about how he talked about how he dealt the way his anger issue, his problems. So we had a good experience with him today.
The president spoke for a total of about 25 minutes, and while many of the themes in his speech were echoed in the State of the Union, you could feel the obvious connection that he has with the city of Chicago and his concern with the ongoing violence here.